Hello everybody, I am Fuzzyface and welcome back today to what is part 14 of this Williams Resurrection career. Today we have got the Phoenix Grand Prix coming up, the first of two races at the Phoenix track this year. Obviously, if you've watched this video before, we've got the normal Phoenix Grand Prix coming up and we've added the oval to the end of the season. The first time an oval race is going to take place in Formula 1, at least in this game anyway. But Phoenix, it is a engine heavy track, so hopefully we still do have the third best overall engine in the game, so hopefully this is going to be a track where we can perform pretty well at. The rest of the parts here, as you can see, rated. The bars are a little bit higher than they should be because we're focusing on next year's car, so even though these are quite high, we still are rated down the bottom in a lot of these. I'm hoping that next season we can have maybe the 6th best overall car with the parts that we're sort of putting in the car and getting ready for next season. Meanwhile, we'll just have a look. I've pretty much made my mind up on the scouting, who we're going to be bringing in next season. It's going to be Esteban Ocon. I think he's a 4-star rated driver. He's not down to a 3.5 at the moment because he's got a dodgy neck. His fitness is down at a 6 at the moment. It should really be an 18. His marketability is not as good as Kubica's, but I still think we'll be at a 5-star level with Ocon in at 85%. He is a racer as well, so during the race he gets a +2 bonus to every stat during the race as well. So, and he is interested in joining us. So Esteban Ocon is going to be our #1 target at the end of the season. He's going to be coming into the team. Obviously he needs some work on cornering and overtaking. He needs some work on the feedback as well. So I'm thinking we're getting should be getting about 50 million in at the end of the season. The car costs 50 million, so we've got a little bit of room to play with the money situation as it is. So we're going to go ahead and build the HQ parts, the new additions to the HQ that are going to be most beneficial to Esteban Ocon, because he's going to be our main driver going forward and the one that we're going to focus on. So cornering, overtaking stats are improved with a test track, so we're going to go ahead and build level 2 of the test track. Cost a cool £12 million, and we're also going to go ahead and build the next stage of the wind tunnel, which will help us with the front wing as well, and it will help Sorokin and Ocon as well with feedback improvement rate, which is something we're going to need to focus on, because obviously next season we will be losing Kubica, who is our main force as regards to the feedback rate. He gets an 18, so we're going to be losing that next season. Other than that, we're currently building a new engine to go in the car. And Adam Smith reminded me in the comments of the video, the one before last, because I'm usually ahead of my recording schedule. I'm so used to contracts running out at the end of the season, I always forget to go through the pit crew and actually come down here and renew their contract. So if you come down and click on them, like this guy's only got 1 race left, we've got to go in there and click renew contract. So I'll just check that there isn't anyone else here that needs renewing. Actually, he's a terrible mechanic. Why we even got him? Let's just fire him. Fire him out of the crew. Corona, you alright? 12 races. I think I went through and he's got 11, so we'll renew him anyway. I wish there was a little option in this screen where it showed you. You didn't have to go through and actually click on each one to see how many races they've got left, because it's easy to forget about them. But, oh, you've only got 1 race left as well. He would have been gone after this race. Carmichael, you're alright. And Quirk, you've got 11. We'll renew you back to 12 as well. So, through the last couple of signings we made in the last episode, we still got a pretty decent pit crew that gets us to 1st, 2nd. Obviously, we're not as high as a 1.6, 1.5 that we were before, but 1.85 second pit stop still puts us at #1 in the championship, and we have our A crew ready for this race in Phoenix. We've got 28 laps, so I'm guessing we can one-stop this. So maybe an undercut and having a quicker pit stop might work out for us, but we're going to get into this. Lance Stroll also has an eye problem, so he's not down to a 2.5, not even 2.5, he's down to 2.25, so we're going to leave him at home. Yeah, we'll leave him at home, just because that's what would happen in real life. Yeah, we don't want him racing with eye problems, because he usually comes in for practice, so we can take advantage of his pay driver start. We get half of his pay driver payout of around 450,000 if we do that, and both guys happy with the car. So we're going to go ahead and skip over practice, and we'll be back in a second to go through qualifying. So, practice over Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, a lot quicker than everyone else it seems. We seem pretty quick, but as we've seen before, practice doesn't seem to have too much of a bearing on what we do in qualifying. But you never know, this Phoenix track is engine heavy. Our engine is one of the best. Hopefully we can get some out of qualifying for once. We usually get some out of qualifying when the AI messes up with the rain, even though we try to get around them messing up with the rain. So we've got full knowledge on the soft and qualifying. Did pretty well with the setups all there with Sorokin. A little bit out on the speed balance, couldn't quite get that matched up. But we'll get into qualifying. We're going to send Sorokin out first when we see some of the other cars start coming out. There's no rain due here in Phoenix, so we'll see them come out, and then we'll send Sorokin out, let him come out of the pits, and then we'll send Kubica out as well. So we're just going to see, as we know, the teams in the bottom 5 usually do 2 qualifying laps straight away, and then everyone else comes out at the end of the session. We're going to come out at the end of the session as well, along with the other top teams. I don't know why some of the AI cars come out first before then, but if it gives us a little bit of an advantage, although I hate taking advantages in this game. I do like sort of being matched up, so maybe we should go early on as well with the rest of the AI cars, but Kubica looking pretty quick. Oh no, we're not actually looking that quick, although Kubica, that is a pretty quick time if that is an actual representation. If he's only that far behind. So Sorokin's 1.4 seconds behind. Kubica looking pretty quick here if he can come across the line. 4th place for Kubica, ahead of a Ferrari. So some massive upgrade there between Kubica and Sorokin, whether he just put in a really good lap. But Kubica looking like he could be starting in the top 10 here. So I think he's the one that's got the most powerful engine. As we see the other cars in the bottom 5 starting to come out already. But we're just going to ignore that. We'll sort of let them go around, and the Toro Rossos come straight back out as well. So I don't think any of these are going to set a quicker lap, although we see Grosjean going quicker. Ocon going a little bit quicker. Some of them are going a little bit slower. Grosjean goes up into 8th place in the Haas. He knocks us down. It doesn't look like anyone else is going to knock us down from this point. So we've got Raikkonen and Van Dorn who could possibly jump Kubica, but we're going to get back to that in a moment when we go through the second lap in qualifying. So qualifying is drawing to a close. We've got about 4 minutes left. We're just waiting for the AI to send their cars out. We're going to send Sorokin out first. As soon as we start seeing people start coming out of the pits, we're going to get in and send them out, and we'll get Kubica out as well, although they're going to be a little bit too close to each other. Let's let Sorokin move on a little down the road first, and Kubica's going to come out there, although I think Kubica's, no, he's not the last out of the pits, which is good. We've got the Ferraris behind us, so that gives Raikkonen a little bit of an advantage over us, because the track should be, well, there's only one car between us, a little bit more gripped in by the time Raikkonen's doing his lap. So Sorokin's going to come across the line first to start his qualifying lap. He's a long way off the pace. I think he's down in 19th at the moment. He's a long way off the pace. Hopefully he's going to be able to go a little bit quicker here as well. He's got an upgraded engine that we introduced back in Milan. His engine obviously not as good as Kubica's, so he's a little bit further down. Kubica's going quicker this lap as well. So hopefully Sorokin can get to around 15th or 16th will be a good performance for him. Kubica looks like he could jump Grosjean. Raikkonen going quickest this lap, so I'm guessing he's going to outjump us. Van Dorn didn't go quicker. Sorokin only gets to 18th. Kubica slower in the second sector, and it looked like he was slower in the third sector as well. Yeah, Kubica's lap just fades away there at the end, so he remains 9th. Hulkenberg gets up above us, so does Raikkonen as well. So Kubica drops down to 10th place. Hulkenberg didn't get above us, it was just Raikkonen jumping over Hulkenberg. Maybe not do that. Oh, is Raikkonen, what's that? No, that's just because he's doing his in-lap, isn't it? Yeah, so 10th place is not a bad result at all for qualifying. Bodes well for next season when we have the upgraded car and Ocon in this car as well. Obviously, his qualifying, he doesn't have that race to start during qualifying, but in the race, if he can get around 10th place, he's going to be in a really good position to go 4th and win us points and hopefully get us into that top 5 comfortably next year, which is the aim. I don't think we're going to be able to, but maybe we could be nipping at the heels of McLaren and maybe be nipping at the heels of Red Bull. Maybe. Just somehow we can go ahead and do that. We'll just go ahead and work out what sort of strategy we're going to be doing here. Hard tyres can do 17. So if we go mediums from the start with Kubica, we can possibly have him one stop this race. He can go hard, he can go medium, and then just take the hards down to 0. So maybe that's the option we're going to try with Kubica from the early going here. It doesn't look like there's going to be any rain here in Phoenix. And with Sorokin, we could one stop with him, or we could, because he's outside the points and doesn't look like he's going to score points, if we want to move him up to the points, should we try something a little bit riskier? If we can get him on these soft tyres and just have him blow through the soft tyres really early, like we've tried before. This time we're not going to have any wrong tyres go on the car, so we'll try that strategy out for Sorokin. It's not something we're going to adopt a lot, but if we can get him off the line for the first lap, have him, we'll go attack mode straight from the start, and he's going to be doing possibly 2 medium tyre stints after this. So we'll go medium with Sorokin. Kubica's going to be on the hard tyre for longer than he's on the medium tyre, so we're going to go for the hard tyre performance increase with him. And we'll just see how this works out with Sorokin. We can try something a little bit different from him since he's not expected to score points. We have to be a little bit more conservative with Kubica because he is expected to score points, whereas Sorokin, he can come into the pits pretty early and then have some sort of clear track to run on those fresh medium tyres. And hopefully that's going to work out for him. Kubica has a pretty good start. He's managed to get above Grosjean, who's had a really bad start. And Kubica's getting up the inside as we go up that straight. Kubica straight up into 4th. Is he going to get 3rd? No, he's not. He's right on the back of Bottas. Is he going to get the inside line? He does an amazing start from Kubica here. This new engine really working out, which is sort of making me question what we're going to do next season with the AI level. When I tested, I did a quick test with a couple of teams like with Renault and Haas, and on the AI difficulty level +3, we did seem to be way off the pace. +4, we did seem to be way off the pace, which is why I'm on +3 for the AI level. We seem to be going above our sort of level, what we should sort of be doing. But as we can see with Sorokin, this is the level we should be at. Whether it's just Kubica's having a really good season, he's got the really good start, and obviously we've got the engine, which is the core part of the parts in this game. If you've got a really good engine, it sort of sometimes negates the rest of the car, especially on tracks like this. Sorokin though struggling at the moment to pick up these places on this soft tyre. Most of the other cars are on soft tyres, so we're just going to get him pushing and get him going in overtake modes to see if he can move up the order. He's got himself up to 14th. Kubica's still holding on to this 5th place. And we're going to have to start looking after this tyre as well if we want that to do the one stop. So maybe he's got Perez right on his tail though, which means we can't go in conserve mode just yet. So Sorokin, meanwhile, we're just having him blast through this first session on this tyre, just to see where we can move him up to, and then get him out into some clear air as well and see where he can go from there. So we're going to go back into high mode with the fuel, unless we've got some pace on the Renault, have we? We're doing 127.3, so we are, and we're going to try and keep Grosjean behind us. So let's see if we can get the run on this straight, which is where we should be a lot quicker than these other cars. As we see, we hang on to the back of the other cars with the engine the way it is as we hit that sort of part of the oval. It's almost a half oval. Kubica's now got, Perez has started to drop off, so maybe we can go conserve mode with these tyres just to make sure we can do this one stop. We're going to see some of the top order maybe do a 2-stop strategy though as well, which might bode well for us, whilst Sorokin is up into 11th place, and we're going to have him go back into high mode here. He's just blasting through these tyres, so we're going to be the first one into the pits. So we should have clear air if it's a 20-second pit stop. There's only 5 seconds to the end, so we can just sort of see whether we're going to be gaining places when we come into the pits and where we get back out of the pits. Can we pit for fresh tyres soon? Yes, we can. This is the lap where these tyres are going to fade away. So we're going to get in for this medium tyre, and we're going to have to go conserve for this last little bit of the lap just to make sure these tyres don't fade away too much. So Sorokin, we'll just check where he is when he comes into the pits to the cars around him. We don't really want to match ourselves up with Verstappen, so Sainz in the Renault would be a good one to match ourselves up with. Kubica's still running in 5th at the moment, so as we come into the pits here, we are 0.6 seconds behind Sainz. We're ahead of Raikkonen. We don't really want to match ourselves with Raikkonen. Obviously, they're a lot quicker, and he's going to have some clear airing to run into this and close down this gap to Sainz. So we're about with Van Dorn, Raikkonen and Grosjean where we are. So hopefully we can test out if this works. We're within a second either side to those cars. So if we can get in and then match ourselves to where they are when they make their pit stops. And we need to look after these tyres as well to make sure they can get to the end of the race. Coming out of the pits, we are 20 seconds behind Ocon as well on this hard tyre, although that hard tyre is going to go a really long way into this race. Whether we can get somewhere towards them. Are we gaining that gap? We are. So whether this massive undercut can work for Sorokin, it is a massive undercut, and these tyres nicely cooled down now. We should be able to get them to about the 13 laps if we can do. Kubica's got a massive gap either side of him, 5 seconds in front to Ricciardo. It's Danny Rick who we shouldn't be gaining. Hulkenberg's behind, he's going to be coming into the pits soon, so let's just speed this thing up a little because there's not going to be much interesting happening. We've got Sorokin just closing this gap down to Ocon. He's in the... We're going to be able to see what sort of lap times he's doing on this fresh medium after this first lap. And we're going to have to start recovering. Not yet, we don't have to start thinking about recovering. We're doing a... Still on a 143. Here he comes across the line. Is that Sainz? Sainz is coming pretty early. So we've managed to get ahead of Carlos Sainz in the pits. We've gained quite a bit of time on him. Almost 3 seconds. We're now caught up to Hulkenberg as well, who was with and around Kubica. So that is a massive jump for Sorokin. We've managed to get onto the back of what the Renault guys are doing. Sainz, I won't say he's gone for a soft tyre, so Renault really aggressive on their pit stop strategies like we do with Sorokin, but obviously they don't dial back their aggressiveness as the race goes on, and they have real problems, and it has put them in the relegation fight, although they have managed to lift themselves out of it. But we've got Van Dorn and Raikkonen in the pits as well, so that is it. We managed to get ahead of Raikkonen, still behind Van Dorn. We're going to get helmed up by Van Dorn a little now. They're getting their pit stops out of the way early. So as we see, if we go, Renault have just about managed to lift themselves out of it as Sauber and Toro Rosso picked their points up early on in the season, while some of the other teams were having a few problems. They haven't scored points since then, although Toro Rosso in the points today with Gasly, although we've got a few cars here that are going to knock him out of the points. Kubica though has moved up to, no, he's still in 4th place. Was he 5th place? Yeah, Hamilton's coming to the pits early on for a pit stop, going for a soft tyre. So it looks like he's going to... No, he can get onto a hard after that soft tyre to finish the race. But he is doing a 2-stop strategy, which could work well for Kubica here. If we just keep going, it looks like we could be on for a podium finish with Kubica again. The AI being really aggressive around this Phoenix track. And I don't think it's going to be something that they're going to be able to sort of come back on. And we've got Bottas into the pits, who's got problems with his car as well, so he's going to be in. That's going to bode well for Kubica as well. Kubica comes out and he's side by side. Who's that? He's side by side with Danny Rick coming out of the pits. Danny Rick have problems as well. He seems to have dropped down the order as well, but the Mercedes should have the edge here with the better engine. And Kubica is in effective lead of this race. He's going to be making his pit stop this lap to get onto this hard tyre. Is that going to be able to get to the end of the race? It's going to be touch and go whether it can do. The medium tyres should drop away at 10% though. We should be able to get another lap out of this tyre. We shouldn't lose too much time. So should we need to go one extra lap just to make sure we can get around. Are we losing time on this lap? Yeah, we're pretty much matching the last lap time, so we can get in for the hard tyre this lap. Obviously we've got our A pit crew in. Should be a nice quick pit stop. So Sorokin though 17th, just sort of dropping away a little bit now as we've got these cars in front. He's not really picking up much distance, although we should be able to get to a front of Magnussen once these cars pits. Obviously they are on a one stopper at the moment, so I think we can push through this medium tyre now, and we'll go onto a hard tyre that we can push on for the end of the race. We're going to have to go ahead and start regaining some of this fuel for Sorokin. But where is Kubica going to be after he's made this pit stop is going to be the question. Are we going to be able to get in front of Bottas and Danny Rick. I don't think we are, but we should be right on the tail of them. You know, a little bit further down the order than that. So, and Alonso gets past us as well. So we're pretty much where we were. Alonso, we should be effectively 5th place now. Bottas's pit stop didn't cost him too much. Well, it cost him a couple of places. Alonso did do the undercut on us, so we're about the same place as we were beforehand, although we're going 1 stop to the end of the race. It looks like everyone else is. Hamilton and Vettel, though, are going to be going for a 2-stop. Can they get out in front enough? They're obviously in front of us enough to get out in front of us, but can they get out in front enough of Ricciardo, who is 2-stopping as well? So we might be able to make a move on Ricciardo towards the end of the race. Sirotkin, meanwhile, he's just doing his thing at the moment, 16th place. He's going to be coming in for the hard tyre as soon as this starts to fade away. Maybe we could have had him pushing a little bit more and gone for the hard tyre, or maybe gone for 2 hard tyre compounds that we could have pushed all the way to their limit. Should we get him in this lap, or should we go another one? I think we've got another lap in these tyres. He's battling with Verstappen at the moment, who's really struggling again. He's been struggling most of this season. Verstappen, he's himself in 6th place, although he's pretty much been doing the same as Bottas, but Bottas in the points today. So it doesn't look like this has worked out too well for Sirotkin today, this sort of riskier strategy that we've gone for. But obviously we do have another pit stop coming up, which we might be able to jump a few places. Obviously it's not going to be a points finish. Kubica, though, is still looking at a points finish. He's going to be able to move and jump 5 places, so he could be there or thereabouts in the top 5. I think he's just going to depend what everyone else is doing with their pit stops. Sirotkin is still on the back of Verstappen. Verstappen struggling. Although we're going to get in for the pits this time. We've actually went quicker on that last lap than the last lap, even though the tyres were at 9%. So Sirotkin makes his last pit stop of the race. He's in 19th place, and he's going to be able to push here. We've got a few that are possibly going to be thinking about pitting, so Sirotkin might be able to get around to 14th or 15th, which will be a good result for him. Kubica, meanwhile, we're still just waiting to see what these other cars do around us. We're going to start seeing some of these that have gone really deep into the race coming to the pits now. So Kubica's up into 8th place. We're still going to be able to jump Leclerc and our driver next season, Ocon. So that is 6th place, and then whatever anyone does above that, we've got Ricciardo in our sights. Hamilton is just outside our sights, and Vettel as well is outside our sights. So it looks like we could be on for a 5th place here unless Ricciardo can somehow get these tyres, these medium tyres, through to the end of the race. Although I think we might be closing distance on even him as he's starting to slow down on those medium tyres. We're recovering fuel with both guys at the moment, and we want to make sure these hard tyres can get through to the end of the race now. There's 10 laps left, we can do 14, so maybe we should keep pushing as well, just until we see the other cars come into the pits. Kubica now up to 7th, Sirotkin still in 19th place. Obviously these cars are going to the end. We've got nothing on these. Ocon into the pits. Sirotkin is not going to be able to get in front of him, so that risky strategy has not worked out at all for Sirotkin this time around. Although Kubica having a really good race this time. Bodes well for when we do the oval at the end of the season, that we're going to be able to pick up some good points there and sort of close that gap to Force India. Force India picking up points today with Perez, who's going to the end of the race as well. So it's going to be tight going into the last few races of the season as to whether we're going to be able to score enough points to get above the Force India team. 19 points behind after this race, with 3 races to go after this one, and we're going to get Sirotkin turned down now. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to pick up any places, so we're just going to look after those tyres. Things just not working out today for Sirotkin, running in 18th place where he started on the grid. Kubica, though, that amazing start has gone a long way for him, although we lost a little bit of ground to Alonso. And here we see Hamilton in the pits. He gets out just in front of us, and we're held up there, which is not going to bode well for Danny Rick, although Danny Rick is going to, can he make those last for another 8 laps? And it looks like this is Vettel's race, which could secure him the championship. He would possibly be out of reach of Lewis Hamilton if he can go ahead and win this race. Although Vettel's not going to win this race because he's going to come out. Well, Hamilton falling behind quite a bit, so it looks like Vettel's still on for the race win. Hamilton's going to be struggling to make these places up. We see Vettel in the pits now. He's going to come back out in first place. Looks like so. Vettel put in an amazing stint. Is he going to get out? And he does get in front of Danny Rick, who gets slowed down. I don't think he's going to make that pit stop. So it looks like this could be the championship win for Sebastian Vettel. Obviously, he's not 75 points in front, but the points gap would be too much now for Lewis Hamilton make up. So Sebastian Vettel pretty much confirming the championship of this race, although not officially. So Rocky, meanwhile, just still hanging on. And, oops, we've actually forgot to turn Kubica down there. So we're going to go start recovering, although I don't think Perez is going to be able to catch us. Is he doing? No, he's gone in low mode with his tyres. So we should be able to go into low mode with the fuel towards the end of the race to recover this. Should we get out of the way now whilst we see, Perez is starting to come back at us. So we're just going to see what we can do here. Let's speed it up a little bit. And we'll funk Kubica for a little bit. Up into 5th place. Danny Rick has pitted and he's come out all the way down in 10th place. So obviously not feeling those mediums could get him through to the end of the race. Why they didn't go for the hard tyre when they came in? It's perplexing sometimes what the AI decides to do. So we've got 5 laps to recover 0.8 of the fuel. So we do need to run in low mode for a little bit. It's going to allow Perez to catch us, although Perez is recovering his fuel as well. So that goes well for us. So we'll just go ahead and speed this up a little bit as there's nothing much happening. So Rotkin has managed to get ahead of Raikkonen, who's come in for a second pit stop as well. Raikkonen having a dreadful race. Verstappen having a dreadful race as well. Force India have managed to get both cars up into the points, which is what we didn't want. Gives them equal points to our 5th place finish of what Kubica's doing. Perez is dropping behind here, so we can keep in low mode as well for a little bit. Sorokin is passed by Raikkonen as well. So, not long to go here in the Phoenix Grand Prix. A 5th place for Kubica will be absolutely amazing and is boding well for when we bring Ocon into this team. Obviously, Ocon's going some way to knocking us down the order this season. Whether we can actually sign Ocon though next season, he might reject our contract. Something might get messed up in the contract negotiations. We don't know, but I think Perez is still recovering. No, he's starting to come back at us now. He's started to close at this gap, although then he falls back a little bit as he goes into conserve mode. These tyres easily going to make it to the end of the race. We can't do much with Sorokin. We can get him in high mode though if we wanted to. But Kubica now, we're just getting towards the end of this race. Just taking these last few laps as we can. We've got some life left in this tyre. Should we try put a quick lap in, although it would give Perez an opportunity to come back at us if we just go ahead and just totally wreck these tyres. The fuel is getting low. We're going to be able to do a last lap in medium. It does look like we're going to be able to do maybe a last lap in high and overtake mode and just see what we can do. Oh, up into 4th. No, were we in 4th before? No, Bottas has pitted as well. Bottas has come into the pits as well. And he's got problems with his car. Mercedes struggling once again. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try push on this last lap with 2.1 seconds ahead of Perez. What we're going to be when we cross the line. So we're going to go into attack mode. We're going to go into high mode. And let's just see if we can blast away from this Force India up this straight. 2.1. The tyre's wearing away though, so we might not be able to get away from them. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to get away from them. Perez obviously in better form, and that is the end of the race. I miscalculated there. We must have already been on the final lap whilst we were looking at Bottas. But whatever. 4th place for Kubica, an excellent finish. So Rotkin 17th. That really aggressive strategy didn't work out for him. We could have done a one stop with him, although he would have been outside the points as well if we'd have done that. So it was worth it to risk it to see if it would work out. Obviously, that really aggressive strategy only works on the track. I can't remember which track it is that has the really short pit lane. If the pit lane's a normal length, it's just not going to work out. So we do know that for future. We know to be conservative and go for the one-stop strategy if we think we can make it work. Kubica picks up 12 points. The Force India guys, Ocon moved up to 8th place with Bottas' pit stop. So they actually scored more points than us this race, scoring 14 points, which pulls them a little bit further ahead than us. Kubica stays where he is. Sorokin drops down the order a little bit as Magnussen finished in the points and moves up. Haas, they've got no real chance of catching us unless we make a massive mistake. We're 23 points behind Force India. If they keep both their cars in the points, that's going to be not something we can overcome. We're not going to be able to get that 5th place. But 6th place, considering how we started the season, how long we went without actually scoring points. I think we only had 1 points finish for the first 6 or 7 races. We finished 6th overall, so we didn't have Lance Stroll in the car this time, so we're only getting a just over half the money that we usually get. We skip on to Formula 2. Artem Markelov won the last Grand Prix, although Nicholas Latifi still winning the championship. Jack Aitken just behind him in the art car. Is it going to be close towards the end of the season? No, it's not. There's only 2 races coming up, so it looks like we're getting the Dams team up in Formula 1 next season. Maybe they might be keeping Nicholas Latifi. I'm guessing they're going to be keeping Alexander Albon. Those are going to be the 2 drivers, unless they're not contracted for next season. Nick De Vries is 3rd at the moment. Alexander Albon, Maximilian Gunther, Artem Markelov, Nobuhiro Matsushita in 7th, George Russell 8th. And who's struggling this season? Luca Giotto all the way down in 16th. Ralph Boschon in 19th. So we've got a couple of guys struggling down the order. Prema, where's the other Prema car of Sean Galeo? All the way down in 11th as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what Dams can do next season. I don't know what they're going to be able to do. We've got this engine built, which should go a long way next season. As you can see, a 1079, almost a 100-point upgrade on what we've got this season. I'm not going to be able to see what that moves us up to. We do still have some room to manoeuvre with the engine though. With that, which can get us up to a 1109 for one of the engines. So should we go ahead and build that? Or should we focus on the rear wing, which is the only part that might give us a little bit of trouble next season? What is the best rear wing that we've got at the moment? The best rear wing that we have got at the moment is a 832, which is fully upgraded. So if we just have a look what we can do with a rear wing, we've got 4 slots that we can get to. We can do epic. We've got a plus 60 for an epic. What have we got down here? Plus 25, a plus 35, a plus 40. Obviously that's a plus 40 to max, which you might not have the time. If we can just do this, then we don't actually have to upgrade the rear wing at all, do we? We can go for one that we don't have to upgrade. Yeah, we can't build a legendary part, so we can take the plus 35 and we can get rid of the max, plus 40 to max, so we can do 857. So there's not a lot that we have to do to get that to an 887. So we can sort of forego that one since we know it doesn't need upgrading. The engine would need upgrading before the end of the season. Plus 60. We've got only about 30 on that, 4 days after the race. So we're going to get going with the engine first. We can't do this yet because we're only just building the test track. So that is a 1099. Was there something better than that? Plus 30. Yeah, so there's about 50 points that we have to try and gain to get to that 1109. So we're going to have to get this built now so we can get working on it in the factory. £2 million at 1109. That's going to be an amazing engine next season. Whether we can outdo some of the top teams with our engine next year, because we are getting up there with what we can do at the moment. Pit crew, meanwhile, we'll just have a look at who we can hire. We've got some decent guys on the rear jacks. Fixing is not an issue at the moment, so maybe just take one of these for now. We'll hire him. And our rear jack guy at the moment is pretty good. And let's just have a look. We've got one guy on the tyres that needs swapping out, but we'll leave it just before the race just to see if any of them recover, and then we'll just go through the mail just to finish this episode. We've got Robert Kubica just missed out on the podium today. He must have been devastated. We'll just say he's tough. That's going to keep everyone happy. Pit crew review. Lance Stroll still listening to offers. Paddy Lowe says the engine build's finished, which we know about. So maybe we'll just actually finish with the GMA vote, which is coming up in 2 days for pre-distributed tyre compounds. We're going to vote against it because I think if we have pre-distributed, it's going to mess up the AI even more, because they seem to get mixed up with what they bring to weekends. Or would it actually make it fairer? Because then everyone would be on the same level. But then I guess we're going to have people qualifying on like the medium tyre compound if they blow through it in practice. So no, we'll abstain. We'll just let it go either way. and it's being voted for, so we're going to have pre-distributed tyre compounds next season. So I'm guessing, are we going to have 15 tyres and 5 of each? Yeah, because we get 15 dry tyre choices, so it's going to be a little bit interesting. There's 2 soft tyres used in practice, so maybe it will allow some of the teams down the order to be a little bit better with their strategy going forward, because everyone's going to be sort of on an even keel going in with the same tyres. I'm guessing the AI sometimes only takes like 2 softs or takes 1 hard, which is why we see some of the top of the order teams not going for the hard tyre when they should be going onto it and try to stretch to a 1 stop. So hopefully it does go some way to solving the AI issue next season. But anyway, that is it for this Grand Prix, this episode, not this Grand Prix. It is this for this Grand Prix. We're going to be back tomorrow with the Brazilian Grand Prix. 8 days before that, we'll be back at the start of that race tomorrow. So if you're not already subscribed, hit subscribe, hit that like button, follow me on Twitter, all the usual stuff. But until next time, I'll see you down the road in Brazil for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and goodbye.